Rolling. All right, here we are. WellREDers, we're back second time in the ATC studios. First time was a doozy, boys.
Sure was.
If you came back, we appreciate it. Thanks for that. It was.
I have a story to tell today about another altercation, and I want everyone to know that the altercation I spoke about last week happened months ago, so I just don't want anyone to think that I have altercations weekly.
Yeah, I could see people thinking that.
I can see that too, because you often talk about altercations that you have on this show, and it's like kind of like when you're watching a movie. And when you watch a movie, you only see the highlights of the character. You don't see them go into the grocery store and brushing their teeth. You know what I'm saying? That's not exciting to talk about.
It was at the grocery store.
Okay,
So well, you nailed that.
Well, go ahead. Let's have it. Let's have it.
Well, all right. Okay. I was at the grocery store. Trader Joe's here is a madhouse.
Oh yeah, I love Trader Joe's. I don't even go anymore.
I think I'm done.
It's always too insane.
Yeah. So there's a guy waiting because somebody's about to pull out of a parking spot. I see him, and then another person starts to pull out. So I throw my blinker on. Now there's a parking spot closer to me and a parking spot closer to him, but my guy is right up against the parking spot closest to him. There's no way he can get in there. So I think he's going to go past and get the one closest to me. So I do the thing, you know, like where you're like, you hear me here?
Yeah,
like you're pointing. And he gives me some sign back. Not this one. My head just itches. He gives me some sign back. So I think we're on the same page. He's going to get the one closest to me, especially because that person had pulled out first. So it was like he saw that one first. And then while he was waiting, the other one opened up. So I'm like, all right, we're going to go past each other. Because it's easier for him to get in that one than I can get in this other one. Well, as he comes past me, another homeboy swoops in like he's going to get the one I'm waiting on. So I got to get in there. I'm like, well, I'm not, I'm getting in there. So I go to get in that spot. And then the first dude was trying to back into that one.
Oh, okay.
And nearly hit me. So I honk so he doesn't hit me. That's the only reason I honk. Matter of fact, I didn't even honk. He sees me, and he starts yelling his windows down. My window's cracked. What the fuck are you doing? Just like coming at me. I'm like, dude, there's a spot right there. I didn't. So I get all the way in there. He backs into the spot. That's literally one car away. There's a car in between the two spots we parked in. There's no difference. And I get out of my car, and he's yelling at me. Like full blast. Hey, you fucking asshole. Yeah. Now, before I got out of the car.
What type of feller was this?
Old man.
Old white man?
Old white man.
Okay.
But with a hint of an accent. And
like ours?
Nope. Like
Midwest?
European.
Chicago?
No, like
Armenian?
European.
Maybe Armenian.
Ooh, okay. Well, you don't want to fuck with him.
Hell no.
And it looked like somebody you didn't want to fuck with.
Right,
like there was a roughness to his face, right?
Yeah.
So right before I got out of the car, though, I heard him yelling. And I'm not just saying this. I literally was like, just be nice, just be cool, because I've actually been like trying to get on top of me and my anger and all that, because I don't ever feel good when I get mad at somebody, And it's funnier if you're calm and someone's yelling at you, right? So I get out and he's yelling at me, and I go,
I love that you're doing it for the comedy of it, not to be a better person for your kid, but like I found that when I'm calm, it's more hilarious in the interaction.
Well, there's been a few times in my life where I've yelled at somebody and I felt like afterwards, like, damn, I'm a bad person. But usually when I yell at somebody afterwards, I'm just like, I just made me look like the bad guy when I wasn't the bad guy. So it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And that's that's the thing that happens with your wife too, where she knows she's wrong, so she keeps pushing in buttons until you do something wrong, right? So thank you for that, Gandhi. Go fuck yourself. But
you're welcome. But I know what you mean, because almost every time my wife has actually legitimately done something that she should have apologized for, by the end of our argument, I'm the one that has to apologize because I've gone overboard. You know, and I end up apologizing. I go to bed and I'm like, wait, she did that shit.
Right. Do you remember that lady that got all over you at the Starbucks in the hotel?
Oh, my God, yeah.
And then I gave her...
She literally sang that. She was like, hey, goodbye, as I left the fucking Starbucks. Oh, my God, that infuriated me.
So what I'm getting at is like...
I didn't do nothing.
You looked like the bigger... I feel like my motivation has always been, if I'm trying to be calm in that scenario, like look like the bigger person. Because in terms of being a good person, I'm not saying I can't improve as a person, but rarely am I yelling at somebody. Did later I feel like, damn, I shouldn't have done that. Because in my mind, they fucking deserve it. That's why I'm fucking yelling. But I get out and this dude's yelling at me, and I've centered myself, and he's like, oh, you fucking asshole, this and that. And I go, hey, buddy. And I said it just like that with a smile, and as southern as I could, but like soft southern, not like, God damn it. But I go, hey, buddy, you ain't going to yell at me because you don't know how to fucking park, all right? And I just start to walk off. And he goes, this is what you do? You take old people's parking spots? So then I turn around and I kind of
What if
laugh.
that was what you do? Like if that was like a big thing for you.
Yeah.
You're always like, you know how I love to take old people's parking spots? Like you like circle parking lots looking for papaws
old
with their
papaws.
blinkers
Yeah.
on. You're like, it's time. Fucking whip it in there.
Yeah.
Your dick gets hard. Anyway.
So I turn around, and then there's definitely an aspect of this too of not like kind of like you got to remember who you are, what you sound like, what you look like. I took a step towards his parking spot, and I was like, as I was saying, it's 4 feet away, dude. And then I said, you want to switch? We can switch back, but you're not going to yell at me. And he's starting to get out of the car now, and his face has changed. And he gets out, and it was like a movie. He goes, no, this is what you do. You scare old people. Now, until this point, I've only seen him from here up. And he looked like an older dude, but he looked like a rugged. He was cussing at me. He had like a fucking gold tooth. Then he gets out, dude. This is a frail-bodied old dude. And like, it genuinely broke my heart.
He got like sad. He's like, you're one of those people.
He
this
broke
is what
my
you do.
heart. He's
you
like,
take our parking spots
and then you scare us
to ruin our days,
and you
yell at
scare us.
Like he runs into this all the time.
Yeah.
Like it's an epidemic of people doing that.
And it broke my heart, genuinely, because I was laughing, but like not taking shit from like a rugged papa, and now it's an old man. So I'm like, I literally go, all right, buddy, I'm really sorry I scared you. And I go to leave, and he goes, well, you have a good day. I get in there, and I dropped Andy off because she's pregnant. I find her. I'm like, I'm never coming to this Trader Joe's again. I start to tell her the story, and she's like, is he in here? And I go, I'm sure that he is. And we're walking around, and I'm like, Andy, I'm buying his fucking groceries. She's like, what? And I go, I feel bad because when he said, you scare people, this is what you do, he was scared. I scared that old man by walking towards his car, even though I was walking towards it while making this point about the space. She's like, don't do that. That's weird or whatever. Well, the next time I did see him, he was buying flowers. So instead of buying his groceries, I bought flowers.
Was it his dead wife's anniversary or something like that? Like he's on his way to the cemetery.
Shut your Hollywood mouth. Don't you ruin my story. So,
by the way, I'm picturing this guy as the dude in Breaking Bad that has to talk with the bell. That's who's in my mind.
Margolis.
What's funny is he
just died.
He looks like Mike.
Rest
he did.
Peace. Yeah.
He looked like Mike.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And you know how that actor's so good? He could play the scary dude or a frail guy.
Yeah.
Well, this dude was both to me. So he's buying flowers. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna buy flowers too. I'm just gonna put them on his truck with a note. So that was my plan. I bought the flowers. Had to get out of the parking spot I was in because as soon as someone saw me go to my car, they put their blinker on, and it was a shit show. So I pulled somewhere out of the way illegally, like wrote a note, hey man, I thought you were going for the other spot. I didn't mean to ruin your day, and I definitely didn't mean to scare you. Here's some flowers. I'm sorry. And I get out of the car to go put him on his truck. He has made it back to his truck, and he's walking towards me because he's putting his cart away. And before I could say anything, he goes, buddy, I'm sorry. And I said, well, I saw you buying flowers. I bought these for you. And he said, I've been under a lot of pressure lately. My wife has dementia, and she just broke her back. And then he took the flowers, and he starts crying. And he said, and the flowers were for my son who's been dead 11 years
Oh, my
today.
God.
And then I just held this old man in a Trader Joe's parking lot while we both cried. His name is Jamie.
Yeah.
His son's name was, I think he said Adrian.
Dude, that right there is like a short film.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing. Like you've got it. That's it. Just do that. Just do that. You win the Oscar for best short film. I feel like with that. That's like a beautiful human moment. And also absolutely insane.
And then and then I was like, all right, man, like have a good day. And he said, you wrote something you wanted me to read. I'll take it. And this is so like us.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, wish I'd have worked harder on this fucking note.
It's not that good.
It's not that
I could have
good.
worked this.
Damn it, Jamie,
bit.
I didn't know all that stuff, dude. I just said I'm sorry and explained why you were wrong. I should have actually.
Yeah, right. Do you guys like exchange numbers? You gonna like go to his house for dinner or something?
No,
like that?
but I have considered going back to that Trader Joe's every day at the same time till I know what he had a sweet Tacoma. It was gold, so I know what truck he drove. I have considered going back every day till I find him, and then inviting him to meet my son as soon as he's born. And in the short film, you name your kid after his kid.
Sure, yeah.
Dude, how great would it be if Drew went back to Trader Joe's and the exact same thing happened? Like he tried to park and this guy's like, what the fuck, man?
Right.
And he forgot?
And Drew go, but it's a different guy, right?
Oh.
And that happens, and Drew like goes straight to the hugging or whatever. It's like, you know what I mean? He's like, I know you're going through a lot right now, and this guy's like punches him in the face or something. He's like, shut the fuck up, you dipshit.
You queer?
Yeah,
Don't
right.
touch me.
Yeah.
He calls me slurs.
Yeah, that would be super funny.
There's someone listening right now like, oh, now they don't do slurs.
Yeah, we got them all out last week. Well, that was wonderful. You had said we're a couple of weeks at least behind on this, but you wanted to talk about Tyler Childers, Jason Aldean, and the state of country music, and gay people and all that stuff.
Did I say I want to talk about that?
You texted us and said we should talk about all that.
Yeah,
So
well, now, and we can get into it, but I've been slated by the use of Jason Aldean in the Riverboat Brawl. Have you seen where people make that the music video?
Yeah.
They show Aldean, like, try that in a small town, and then it cuts to them bros just beating the shit out of that mullet
it's
nightmare.
great. It's great.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because there's a new thing on my mind. Shit. I kind of want... Well, let's talk about Tyler and Jason first. What did I say? I just want to talk about the state of country.
You texted us, you were like, we should talk about Childers and Aldean. Yep.
Well,
Can I say that I have been thorough, and I'm glad that y'all showed me that video and talked about the Riverfront Brawl, because I have since been absolutely immersed in the Riverfront Brawl cinematic universe.
Oh my God, it's unbelievable.
That Black People Twitter has put together, and it's been amazing.
What's your favorite so far?
Well, there's one that this dude...
The Avengers Portals
That's
is
good.
a good one.
The Avengers Portals was great. There was one where this dude did a training montage of him in a gym running on a treadmill while slinging a chair at the wall. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, there was the Avengers one. Then there was a DC one where the Justice League forms, but it's a black dude as Aquaman. That's been really good. I mean, dude, they're just... It's so quick, too. How great some of them are. That took a lot of work.
Yeah.
There's one like that, and... Y'all forgive me for not being as into that universe. There's the one, I think I watched this with you guys, where they all come back, or they all just appear out of those little circles. Well, there's one where a bro was everybody. He was Iron Man. He was everybody who showed up to fight at the end. There was into one movie where they all showed up to fight.
Yeah, that was Endgame. That's the Portals. That's what that's from.
Yeah.
So there's a guy who showed up, his face superimposed on all of them, and he was Aquaman.
Well, that's the polar opposite of, do y'all remember when like some super liberal Twitter person made that scene, but with like Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders and AOC and Hillary Clinton and Nancy Pelosi and all, they put them over.
Why are we so corny?
Dude, that was like the dumbest shit.
It was so bad.
It was so cringeworthy.
My favorite, you remember someone remade Making My Way Downtown? Making My Way Downtown. And it was like gangster
but with
rap.
black stuff.
He was like, with gangster rap stuff, like clack, 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 clack. So somebody took that song and then put that as the background of him carrying around a chair, but he had the chair in a holster, like it was his gun. He was patting it, and it was like he'd keep that thing on him, but it was a chair. That was my favorite.
I don't know
so many things.
I don't know if this is photoshopped. I just saw this morning. Some police department, I think in Alabama, 2 cops in police department, heavily kitted up, body armor, all that stuff, looking super coppy.
Yeah.
They took a picture of themselves with folding chairs holstered and they're just like standing there, you know, like this, whatever. And I saw in the context of it got posted to the Black People Twitter subreddit, and the caption was like, okay, well, the joke is over now, or something like that.
Yeah. The one I saw, joke is over, somebody got the chair tattooed to him.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, Black People Twitter was like, this is corny.
They had a good run, though. And there was also the one where they showed the whole brawl but superimposed the Good Times theme song over it. That was pretty fucking funny.
I didn't see that, but that sounds good.
This is, I feel like this is almost borderline racist. It's so barely related. But you said Good Times in the theme song, and it reminded me of this anecdote, right? And it has to do with another Black Show's theme song. Have y'all heard the story of, like, Red Fox doing a show in Vegas? And I guess he had a residency, and he did a bunch of them. And one of the shows, he walked out there. There's like 9 people in the crowd, you know, because Vegas shows can be like that, right? So the announcer comes on the thing, and they're like, everybody put your hands together for Red Fox. And then the Sanford Son thing, so and he walks out. He walks out, grabs the mic, and goes, "Oh fuck no, I ain't doing a show for 9 goddamn people." And turns around and walks off, and the music comes back on. What
a legend, dude!
It's so funny, dude. The MVP of that story is the sound guy.
Yeah,
because there's no way he was ready to do that, you know.
No,
but that's quick thinking, man.
You think he's really funny, or just like kind of autistic, and like
this is my
as soon
job.
as he leaves, I got to hit the button.
It could be either one. It could be either one. Either way, it's
great.
funny.
Man, the reason I paused a little on the state of country music thing is I feel like we have probably beaten that topic to death, but I'm happy. I think I was pretty buzzed up when I said that.
Yeah, I only brought it up because I thought you wanted to talk about it.
I was furious at the time thinking about this fucking guy who writes his own songs from a small town in eastern Kentucky who built his career literally through the holler, like with people buying his CDs directly from him, versus this fucking Nashville machine guy. And it's like, what I can't stand about it is motherfuckers from wherever, not just Connecticut, like downtown Nashville, wouldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight. Like Jason Aldean, that's what's country, man. $60,000 fucking pickup trucks with the hitch on the back, and it's squatted like that, so it looks like your truck's taking a shit. That's what I'm into, because that's country. And then this Tyler video's queer, and it's like, I'm just still pissed that what is the biggest mainstream representation of essentially my culture, or what we grew up in, is so fucking perverse.
Yeah, and at the very least, people can't just accept that, like, how about both of those things are?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Mountain Dew your way down to the Dollar General, Uncle Terry. That's fine.
Yeah. That's the thing that bothers me is when people go, oh, you're not real country if you're not this. And I just want to go, okay, by the way, I'm not saying that some dude don't have a jacked up truck with an American flag on it ain't country, but these 2 redneck gay dudes who live in a duplex and work at the Pottery Barn are from the South too. And we're more than one thing.
So that reminds me, have you guys seen Redneck Brawls? Your buddy, your buddy Catfish Cooley is on the Diaz. He's the Joe Rogan of Redneck Brawls.
What? What are you talking about?
Well,
it's a Barstool
Catfish Cooley thing was a joke. Barstool may have got a hold of it. It didn't. I don't think it started out as a Barstool thing. It's like those hood fight videos from back in the day, or those Mountain Man, what were those bare knuckles that used to be a thing back in the day.
Yeah.
So now, like, what it is to promote the fights, they have the fighters who are just amateur red ass people cut promos on each other. So they'll have a guy or gal, which is even funnier, post a clip of, I'm from West Virginia, and I'm calling out all you pussies in Kentucky. My name's Tater Gator, and I'm here to drop the fucking smackdown, right?
Yeah, right.
And then anyone from Kentucky can then respond to that guy, and then they decide who they'll fight.
Who wants to rise to the challenge to defend the honor of Kentucky?
Trey, there is a kid called Sausage Party from Kentucky, and he is, as my dad would say, queerer than a $3 bill, owning it, and he is literally threatening to rape these boys in the hotel room after he beats their ass, and we are all on his team. And I mean everybody, even the most people in the comments are like, dude, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think Sausage Party's gonna whoop his ass. It is so fucking great. Unironically. I mean, you can laugh at it, and that's good, but like, I have a show that night, and I'm upset. I can't pay-per-view it. It's pay-per-view. And there's like 400 of them. Like, I don't know how many they're going to let fight, but I'm starting to think, Corey, that it's an op to get people on their child support. They're just going to invite like 600 people to this fucking cause. There's no way they can have this many fucking fights.
I mean, is that
me and Dad?
Is that just legal just to have fights like that? You know what I mean? Like, you just put an event together where it's like, hey, everybody just come and whoop each other's ass.
So as long as it's not like,
we got a cover charge. We're gonna have fucking, you know, tater tots and barbecue and shit. It's gonna be a whole thing. Like,
each state would do it different, and they're having it in West Virginia. That can't be a coincidence.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if you were saying it's a official boxing thing, then the World Boxing, whatever it's called, might be able to be like, no, you can't do that. But like, you're just saying we're fighting. You can't own fighting. It's up to the state. It's a state's rights issue, Trae.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to go through the athletic commission and shit, especially when they're pay-per-viewing them. But me and Dad have, like, we've bought several of these pay-per-views, the ones that are called Rough and Rowdy or whatever. And they do have a lot of fights on the card. And the reason they have to have a lot of fights on the card is because when two people who aren't professional fight each other, it's over in 45 seconds. You know what I mean? So the funniest part, though, is not, I mean, dude, when you watch them fight, especially someone who watches professional fighting, you're like, okay, this is the novelty of this wore off as soon as they started missing a bunch of punches. But the funniest part is that after the fights, whoever won, they put the microphone in their face just like they do Nate Diaz, except for these dudes literally can't breathe. They can't talk at all. And they're trying to smoke a cigarette and they got nothing. And they'll just like
a lot of that just sounds like
sometimes.
Nate Diaz, kind of.
Right. Yeah. Okay. But let me say that Rough and Rowdy is to the UFC as Redneck Brawls is to Rough and Rowdy. Does that make sense? Like,
sure. Yeah.
Like Rough and Rowdy, it's like these people don't know how to fight. What am I trying to say? This is just decided on their promos. And it's not the most talented promo cutters that gets the weirdest or the dumbest.
They don't actually fight?
No, they do fight. Okay. I'm saying that. So if you post a clip, I'm from West Virginia and I'm challenging all the Kentucky people, 10 people are going to respond to you. Mm-hmm. Who you fight is based upon who responds and gets the most traction on the internet, because it's a promo situation, right? And that's how they decide it. And dude, the women are the funniest ones. Hands down every time. I ordered some fake tattoos. I'm going to try to cut some this weekend myself. I think I'm going to go the angle of rejected ones. We can get that in a minute. Like ones that are like, we can't air that one. But it is glorious. And I, in every way. Like, I unironically like it and I ironically like it.
Yeah, it's great.
You're talking about Sausage Party, and my buddy James came over to my house this morning with his kid for a little bit, and right before he left, he showed me like 30 seconds of something that he said had like blown up this week. Have y'all seen it? It's, speaking of Jason Aldean and shit, it's like a Nashville country style super gay song.
Yeah, it's about 2 weeks old. Yeah. It's like talking about how you
clapping cowboy cheeks and I love the way he rides my wiener in the back of the truck and shit like that. But it's like, it's funny. It's like,
I can't believe you've gone this far without. Of course, you don't check your messages. I have been sent that 300 times.
Oh yeah, I probably have to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You definitely have been.
Yeah, I have.
You've been tagged in it probably.
Well, anyway, that's funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah,
he's good too. Like that kid's been in Nashville trying to make it for a little while. He's got some chops.
Yeah, I mean, is it like a Wheeler situation?
I don't know. I didn't dive into it because I think I'm gonna be a little disappointed either way. Do you know what I mean? Like if it's like a legitimate like gay dude who has something to say and this is what he's resorted to make it on TikTok, I won't blame him, but I'll be like, fuck. And if it's just a Wheeler thing, I'll be like, damn, I really wish it was a gay dude out here doing this.
Right. Earlier I pulled my phone out and I got on Twitter because I was trying to find that thread we shared in our thread like a week or so ago about the Childers. It was that dude complaining about hick libs.
Yeah.
I was trying to find that because I wanted to stir some shit back up. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit offended that I never came up in that. I swear I was.
Me too. I looked for you.
I was reading through that, and I know it's like it's I try to keep my ego more in check than this, but I was reading through that, and I was like, I was kind of expecting me to get brought up at some point and get
Jews
slammed.
don't count.
And I got a little upset when I didn't.
You're a Jewish actor.
I was like, come on, really? This whole thing, you wrote pages and pages of shit about hick libs, and you can't call me queer. What the fuck?
Right. I thought the same thing, dude, because it's like, obviously you're not as famous as some of those people, but in the world of being a super queer Tennessee dude, like you're up there.
All those people know me and I know them, we're all in the same,
did he leave
we're all in the
music?
same queer circles. No, that's what I was hanging my hat on, Drew. Thank you. I was like, well, he only talked about music. If he had diverted from music, then maybe he would have called me queer.
Well, he probably didn't divert from music because he doesn't even do that in his own life. I mean, that's the issue.
He only
with comedy.
knows about. But so anyway, it was this dude. It was this dipshit on Twitter bitching about all the hick libs. That's the word he kept using. Hick libs in country music. He was talking about Isbell, Sturgill, Tyler, Childers, Casey Musgraves. There's plenty more that he didn't even name that we know. You know what I mean? And just bitching about it. And through the course of bitching about it, also trying to defend like Nashville, like Jason Aldean. But from a musical standpoint, it's like I would argue that really Nashville country is far more subversive and experimental than, he's like, you've got hip hop elements, you've got all this, like, trying to make like a scholastic musical argument in favor of Nashville country over like Americana or whatever. And it was just,
which is the one argument you can't make.
I know.
Well, he was also claiming it was more representative of rural America.
Right.
And it was like, not that doesn't hold weight either direction. Like, you can't claim Jason Isbell's more representative or that Jason Aldean is, because like most people we know who live there either listen to both or neither. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the dudes I grew up with, a lot of them, like, they only listen to rap. They don't give a fuck about any of that shit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's also like I was going to say earlier about Childers. It's wild to me that Childers still gets any controversy, because it's like it's not the first time he's done this.
No.
He's done this a few times, and people get pissed off at him every time. And every time I'm like, what the? But like, it's because a lot of those they'll be like, well, this is a little queer, but he still hits for them.
Well, the reason why
they'll keep listening to him. Same with like the Truckers, Isbell, Sturgill, all of them. They can't help but like the music, even
I do think the difference with Tyler and everyone else on that list is an age thing. I took my nephews to a show where he was the headliner, because usually I see Tyler like at a festival or whatever. Dude, it's all 25-year-old frat dudes. And I think they're having a harder time with it. I think the people who got mad at Sturgill are like, God damn it, but I'm used to this shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Them 25-year-olds are still mad. They're going to get mad at Tyler every time. And they thought, Zach Bryan was going to be their hero. And it turns out he also is a little bit of a hick lib.
Well, that's right. Well, that was the other thing that was funny to me about that Twitter thread, was it's like there's a sort of implicit admission in there from this guy that like everybody who hits is a liberal or whatever. Like he's talking about, he's just naming all the hick libs and music, and then he's like acknowledging, like, they're great. This person's great. They've had a lot of success.
Jason's better.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And,
I think that a lot of the Tyler specific heat has to do with right before this, he had released a gospel album. And I think that a lot of people, when he did that, they were like, okay,
he's back in
he's
now.
us.
Dude,
yeah, right.
Well, at the show I was at in Red Rocks, people were furious about that too. Because
I'm not gonna lie, that don't hit for me, but it's fine.
I loved it. But
they
I
were
like
mad.
Gospel music.
They were mad, like, we came here to drink beer, and not, you know what I'm saying? It's
I don't want to hear about the Lord, but
or queers. Neither of them hit for me. I want to fuck a girl's butt.
Yeah, right.
And not feel bad about it. So
and think about the devil.
So there's somebody else. Earlier I was like, I don't know if I'm going to bring this up, but fuck it, I will. I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus. I don't know a lot about this kid. The new one, his name is Oliver Anthony. I had to look up his name. He's going viral right now with a song called Rich Men North of Richmond. And it's a populist song.
About Nova?
About
Northern
DC,
Virginia?
I think.
Yeah. Nova's like DC, whatever.
I think it's meant to be about politicians.
Okay.
And it's a very populist type song. It's very much like pro-working man in its themes. And he sounds like Tyler or Zach Bryan. He doesn't sound like Aldean. He's from this new tradition or whatever we're calling it, right? But when you listen to it, the antagonist of the song is absolutely taxes. And there's a line in there about, like, fat people eating fudge rounds with my tax money. He says it. He says it only slightly more eloquently than that.
I'm gonna stream that.
People have been sending it to me like, dude, I know you're a Tyler fan. What do you think of this guy? And there's a part of me that's like, yeah, whatever. His music is good. His voice is great. Lyrics, some of them are more interesting than others. There's a small part of me though is like, this is a little. Somebody's threading the needle here. They're really figuring it out. It's a very it's not like fuck the government because they fuck us over and let the corporations win. It's literally like, fuck the government because they took too much out of my check with
and
no like
gave it to welfare queens.
Drowned fat asses.
Right.
And no assessment of you're not poor because the government took money out of your $35,000 a year check, dog. It's because you have a $35,000 a year job and the cost of living is skyrocketing.
Yeah.
And you can blame the government for that, but it ain't your taxes. It's a plethora of other things. But now I sound like an academic trying to attack some old boy's song.
I just can't believe they're, landing on the wrong conclusions about that particular.
But it's not Aldine. That's the scary part.
Yeah,
this dude
right.
is in the.
Yeah, no.
And his fans are too. And he's already fooled a lot of them.
I'm about to say, and that's gonna hit real hard, I imagine.
It already is.
I'm about to say, because normally those people in that musical lane, they are, queer like us or whatever, and a dude who's good at that, but is the other thing, I mean, he's gonna make a shitload of money.
Well, and
so much money, and the government's gonna take all of it,
right? And either he very much is someone who's kind of threads the needle, or he's brilliant because the song is about nostalgia. The chorus is about it is like it's a new world, and I'm like, oh yeah, you mean like how back in the day it was good for working class people. We all remember that. The only thing that people like that argue was better is like segregation and the gays not being able to be like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't go back and find a time where anybody agrees it was better unless you're talking about black people or gay people not having rights.
Right.
So
yeah. You said you wanted to fuck a butt and think about the devil, right? Which reminded me.
That was me.
Oh, sorry. You said you wanted to
I said the devil part.
I thought Trae said the
Okay.
devil part, and I was actually about to be like, actually, it was not you, it was us. But
So,
okay, you said
That was a tandem.
Okay, I thought it was a tandem with me and Trae, and it would have been so
the
funny.
devil.
That reminded me of something I've been wanting to ask y'all.
Okay.
Like, do church people know, super churchy people, like, do they realize how fucking rad they make the devil sound a lot of the times? And if so, why do they keep doing that? Like,
me and Corey,
you know what I mean? It's always like fucking
me and
the
Corey
devil,
kicked a
devil
bit
loves
around that.
drugs and rock and roll and
Yeah.
sucking dicks and fucking butts and all this shit. And I feel like if you're a teenager, you're like, God damn, devil's what's up, right? And like they don't realize that it comes off that way. Like,
we've discussed this before. Me and
On
Corey,
here?
yeah, me and Corey,
okay,
and
my
maybe
bad.
you kicked a bit around about it of like when the rock and roll guy comes to testify about the
I
dangers.
remember that story, yeah. But
And
I'm
then-
talking about the devil.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it's all the same. I guess that's the
Okay.
part where you not being washed in the blood of the lamb or missing.
So-
all that is.
Well,
the devil.
I've got something in my notes right now that's like kind of specifically about this that I may have talked to y'all about. Is like, I don't know if I would have ever had premarital sex had the church not made it seem like the greatest fucking thing in the whole wide world.
Right.
Like because you're right. Like with the devil, it's like their opening pitch for the devils. They're like, all right, you know all this stuff that super hits, rock and roll, doing drugs, hanging out, seeing titties, and you're like, yeah, I do. And they're like, well, not that. Don't do that.
That's the
you know
devil.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, in that like mini special I did about the Tennessee drag band, there's a story in there about when I went to protest the protesters, and one of them little preachers, like 18 years old, got on the bullhorn, and it's the reverse point where he's like, the joke I make is like, this dude sucks at his job. Actually, no, it's the same exact point because he's making it sound shitty. Because I was talking about how he's like, you get on that bullhorn, and he's like, there's no butt sex in heaven, and we all booed him. Mm-hmm. It's like, when you get to heaven, there won't be any partying, there won't be any drugs,
Right,
and we were
exactly.
like, fuck this shit.
Yeah,
dude.
it's like that sounds awful.
Yeah.
Like, but my question is like that guy, like those people, they genuinely don't realize that sounds awful.
So there's two types of people saying
That's my question.
So there's two types of people saying it: the ones who've never done it,
right?
and so they don't really know. And then people who did it to excess, and God literally did save them because they was about to die
They're about to
inside
kill
a whore.
themselves and ruin their family and all that.
They
right.
think they are imparting that to you at 14. They genuinely believe they're making you understand how bad it is.
Right.
And your dipshit parent is like, yep, sounds awful to me.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
me-
Yeah, that does kind of make sense, actually.
And for me, all I ever took away from that was like, oh, you can get saved at any time. May as well hit now. You know what I mean?
That's a
like
very
all
Corey
these dudes that
reaction.
are saying that, they got to. What'd you say?
He said that's
the
a very
most Corey
Corey
reaction
takeaway.
I've ever heard.
But I'm just saying, like they get to live both lives. They get to do the party and the horns or whatever, and then one day when their body can't handle it, they get to give their life to Christ and still go to heaven. Well, I would like both, please.
Are you wearing a Jesus
Yeah, I was
shirt?
fixing to say, I was literally about to be like, is that a Jesus
Yes.
shirt?
I'm glad that you said that. This is from our friends Chuck and Stacy over at Down South Home. Chuck and Stacy, they have the it's called Down South House and Home. They sell stuff. This says Jesus was woke as fuck. They just sent it to me. So shout out to them. You can look at them on Instagram at Down South House. They got a whole bunch of merch and stuff
right now. Corey threw a plug in there.
Chuck.
Well, you asked me
Reese?
about the shirt.
Is it Chuck Reese?
Chuck Reese.
Yeah, Chuck Reese and Stacy Reese.
Yeah.
That's who I thought Chuck and Stacy was.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
then I was like, it could be another Chuck and Stacy.
Yeah. Well, hope they're doing good. Love them. Love the homies. Yeah, the shirt hits. It's fun. Like, if Jesus come back right now, right? Would they automatically know he was Jesus, or like would he just be how Jesus actually purportedly was? Because if it's the latter, they're going to call him a huge queer. And
if it's the former, we're all going to call him nuts, though. But hey, I'm Jesus.
No. I mean, like, I don't know, something like fucking, I don't know, emerges from the heavens type shit, where everyone is like, oh fuck, Jesus is back, or woo, Jesus
aliens
is back.
Yeah, let's see aliens, dude.
I mean, I guess I would go to aliens first over Jesus, even if it looked exactly like Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I'm just saying, like,
maybe that's why they killed Jesus. Maybe he was gray with yellow eyes. And they left that part out.
Oh, yeah.
But when Jesus comes back this time, though, if he do come back, this time is to take away all his children to heaven. So there will be a pretty big spectacle of it. You know what I mean? I don't think he's going to be hiding in plain sight. It's going to be like, I'm here, and then, half our meemaws are going to disappear, and then we're going to rock out with the devil for 7 years.
And then there's a huge war.
Yeah.
Right,
he's not coming back to, like, party. He's coming back to fuck shit up.
What if COVID was the rapture?
Then it wasn't so bad.
I can't believe my mama got it and didn't die then.
Oh, that's right.
Dude, unless my mama gets raptured, the rapture ain't real.
I was going to say, if COVID was rapture, it proves a lot of not hitting stuff about the Lord, and it basically proves all those people have been right this whole time, to me. Based on the people who died, I'm like, if that was getting raptured, I'm like, fuck, dude.
Dude, I just imagine.
Lord don't hit. We're definitely going to hell. I hope the devil is cool, because
I just imagine a sketch with Larry David at the Judgment Day, and he's back there with his judgment lawyer, and his lawyer's like, look, man, he's a huge fan of the show. He's going to let you in. You just have to be like, you're the Lord, and it's all cool, and Hayden Gaze is cool, and all the stuff you did was cool. And Larry's like, I think I'd rather burn in hell forever. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah.
And then he gets in and he just pesters the Lord about the Holocaust for like 2,000 years.
Hitler's in there because he bought his way in. They should be a bit of money.
So I read, I was reading something that I wanted to bring up, not related to any of this. It's just something I read, and I've seen it before, and I may have even brought it up before, and if I have, I'm sorry. But, like, have you ever read about or, like, thought about the fact that human beings, like, early on in our evolution, or early on in our life as Homo sapiens, whatever, like, way back in the hunter-gatherer times, whatever, human beings are, like, basically terminators, and how fucking absolutely terrifying we had to be to every other animal, pretty much, the ones that we hunted, except, I mean, animals are too dumb to even feel fear, obviously. I think we all know that. But no, that's not true. But think about...
But they can't, like, process it.
Right, but still, like, you watch horror movies when you're a kid, and a lot of the villains in horror movies, like Jason or whoever, they're just, like, very slow but always coming
and relentless.
And at a certain point, usually you're like, this is stupid. Why doesn't he run? Why does he go? Like, why is he so slow? But, like, that's kind of how we actually are.
Yeah.
Because, like, human beings are the best. I'm not. None of us are. But human beings are the best distance runners in all of the animal kingdom. No other creature on Earth can outrun us. They can I faster than us. But no other creature can run longer than we can.
I did not know that.
So it's true.
Not just the Kenyans.
I didn't either.
It's not like Kenyans, cheetahs, the rest
of us. I'm sure Kenyans are right. Sure. Well, definitely not cheetahs. Definitely not cheetahs, because they're the opposite. They're the opposite. They're fast with low endurance. But it's true. Like, evolutionarily
horses.
Yeah, dude. But horses are like the closest because, and actually, us and horses are like the only two things that sweat, and that's why.
What?
Yes.
I'm real proud of myself for thinking of horses and it being close.
Sweating is for endurance running.
Because we ride horses.
Right.
Because they're so endurable.
So
but they got to stop.
Durable.
These animals are much faster than us, so they get away, but then they tire out and they lay down and they look back, and on the horizon, we're fucking still coming. And like that can happen for days.
As long as we got food
but
and
eventually we will catch and eat your ass, right? And
even a horse.
And there's no getting away from us. Like, it's wild to think about how intense that's got to be.
So intense.
Yeah.
You know, like, and, you know, it's just, I mean, I don't, you know, that's why we apex that and like the thumbs and brains and shit, obviously.
We're like the void.
Yeah, can't get away from it no matter how hard you try.
No matter how fast you get, in shape, sober, you just can't
how hard
fucking
you work,
avoid the void.
The void is always right there, right nipping at your heels.
I wonder if that's where avoid comes from. I'm trying to avoid this. Probably not. Let's move on. Let's not think about how dumb that suggestion was. I am so shocked that we can catch horses over days. I believe you and I understand how it works. It's like that's the closest. Like that's the animal that can get the furthest away from us. But if we have food and water and they have food and water, we will catch them.
But yeah, I mean, how long's a marathon? 13.5 miles?
No,
that's a half.
That's a half marathon. It's 21.6, 22.6.
Who was that kid you did a commercial with, or maybe two, in Knoxville? Ben something? He did stand up sometime?
Ben Dongara. His name is not that weird.
God
I don't know why. I don't know why I made his name that weird.
He's white. He was allowed to do that.
He's a white guy, for the record.
Maybe
Ben Dongara?
I think that's right.
Ben Dongara.
He had this great
Ben
joke.
Dongara. I don't know why I did that.
Oh, Bing Dongara.
Yeah,
he had this
He's a white dude.
Stop, Corey. Corey got jealous that you did it last week.
I did it last week. Yeah, I got away with it.
He's been sitting on that for days.
Yeah.
He had this joke, though. I swear this is related. He had this joke.
He was a big runner, super fit guy.
And he said, I'm only up to half marathons. I've been training, but so far I can only get my head halfway up my own ass.
Yeah.
And I really liked that joke.
I always liked Ben because he was like kind of ripped and in shape, and he did shit like that, but he was super self-aware about it, made fun of it and stuff. But yeah,
he was also like successful, but not like in a way that was like in a creative field,
right?
But wasn't like real douchey about it. Do you know what I mean? At that time, he was absolutely doing better than all of us in terms of making money from creativity.
Not even close.
Those marathon runners, man, they blow my mind because like. Y'all know I'm an avid walker, and every day I do a big distance walking, and I throw in stretches of jogging throughout it. Like, but when I say stretch, I mean like I'll jog for 10 minutes and then go back to walking. And when I first started doing this, I thought, oh man, I bet you I'll end up working my way up to distance running and stuff. And after 3 years, like, and again, I've taken 3.5 million steps since December of last year. I've done, I think that's like 1,600 miles. And not at one point have I thought, could I do this marathon shit? What'd you say?
You got like a stats card. It's very funny that you know all that.
I do, but dude, you know what's crazy? It's called... It's called a pedometer.
Yeah. And I would say
only pedophiles out in the woods doing that.
If it was me, I'd go with pedometer, which
yeah.
I think, well, yeah, I think maybe what it is. So yeah.
It just looks like when I look down at it on my phone, it looks like the app that Papaw Batman would have, you know, in order to track down these motherfuckers. But yeah, I do have my stats and
Keeps
stuff.
up with how much you walk in the woods. I mean, I think that checks out.
Let me ask you, and this is going to sound shittier than I mean for it to. I promise.
I'm so happy you did it.
Like, you thought that like if you just kept walking every day, eventually you'd be running marathons or whatever?
No. I thought that eventually that would be the next step I wanted to take.
Oh,
because
okay.
like I didn't think that I would
desire to do it, but you never wanted to. Yeah.
Because
no,
again.
That.
Because when I first started, I was exclusively walking, and that's how I lost the 50 pounds. And then I slowly started incorporating some jogging. And that, you know, my normal stretch is like walk for 45 minutes, jog for 10, and then keep that up. But then sometimes I will go on like a way, like I'm in pretty good shape. I can take off jogging and jog for 45 minutes without my side hurting now. Like I've gotten there.
What about your knees,
I guess in my mind, what?
Yeah.
What about your knees? Do your knees not hurt?
Dude, they ain't never hit. But I have orthopedics that help me with that. But no, I mean, my knee's done shot.
Because I play basketball, my lungs don't get tired. I can't run for more than 20 minutes because of pain.
The thing that's
blowing my mind.
Well, the thing that's pissed me off the most.
I don't run on concrete.
Also, 45 minutes, dude, that's like a long time.
It is.
You're closer than you think. You started this out like, I can't imagine running a marathon. You're not close,
though.
but like...
Well, I'm about to say a marathon is like hours doing that.
Yeah,
but
dude.
Like,
sure, but 45 minutes is a ridiculous amount of time. That's like in good shape.
so
It's not a long run. I mean, it's not a fast run. It's just like, you know, more a little bit more than a speed walk.
Here's the thing, and I've bitched about this to y'all before, but I don't think I've done it on here. What pisses me off about all of that, it's like, I can ride a bike hard and fast for a really long time. I mean, for like easily an hour or whatever, and keep going. But I couldn't jog for, I mean, literally probably even 5 minutes, and that shit kills me. Or like I go up a
Does
few.
it
I
hurt?
go up a few.
Is it your lungs? What is
I go
it?
up a few flights of stairs, and I'm winded. But like I can ride a bike.
Me too.
And
I think
because it's not.
I think it's a heart rate thing.
The things
I think
don't
that your
translate. My heart rate is like incredible.
What I'm saying
Mine
is,
too.
I don't think you're used to having it really high. You're so in shape on the bike, it's only probably getting up to like 130, 140. And when you're running, it's spiking to like 180 because you're not used to it.
That's what
and
I'm saying.
You got to push through that. Dude, it would take you a week.
Well, because like it just doesn't. The shit don't just translate automatically.
No, it doesn't.
Well, that's bullshit, man.
It's bullshit.
That ain't right.
It is bullshit.
That's not. It ought not be that way.
Well, there's a part of
it's
your
like if
brain-
you want to hit it running up steps, you got to run up steps. It don't matter how much you run flat or ride a bike or whatever. It's like fuck that.
There's a part of your brain that you have to train this shut off, but you have to train it to shut off in every type of exercise you do. That is literally sending signals going, we're running out of food. We don't have the actual energy to do this, and I don't want to burn the fat. And then when you train your body to like ignore that while you play basketball, that's the part that's not translating when you go for a run. Same with the bike ride. You've trained your brain to be like, wow, we can do this. Ignore that signal. It's not going to ignore it with everything. You got to keep changing it up.
Right. Yeah, it's like I did like I don't know what to call it, plyometric type shit, like cardio where you're in a room.
Yeah.
Jumping around, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or doing lunges,
Parkour.
doing lunges and shit. No, not parkour. You know what I'm talking about? Like
CrossFit or
Plyometrics.
yeah, plyometrics. Yeah, right.
Plyometrics.
That type of shit. Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
So thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, Aaron.
Aaron from fucking bank shot from the corner.
I tried that. Peloton's got some of those. I tried one in a hotel once because I didn't have my shoes with me. I only had sandals. Couldn't go to the gym, so I tried one of those, and I was like, Jesus, fuck! I did like 8 minutes. I wanted to die.
That's legitimately harder, though.
But I then just kept doing those, and now I can do like a 20 or 30 minute one of those and like get through it, and it's fine. Same with like the strength classes, whatever. I mean, you're right. You do like pick it up quickly ish, but.
For the record, though, those are much harder.
Running,
Like,
specifically.
Fuck it. That takes more energy and effort than biking and running.
Yeah,
for
it's
the
more
record.
like intense.
That was
yeah.
harder because it was harder. It wasn't like, why is this not translating? You weren't ready for that shit.
Yeah, right.
Dude,
Did I ever
guy made
tell
me
you-
puke a couple
But dude,
weeks ago.
running don't hit at all in my.
It hurts.
Like it just sucks.
And
it's
your
boring.
thoughts?
Yeah, right. It don't.
Well, I do it in the woods, and it rains a lot, so it's
That
kind of
helps.
soft mud, so it don't hurt me as bad, and it's kind of cool seeing different terrain. But have I ever told y'all the story of my dad on a bicycle?
No, but it's hard
Did
for
he
me
run
to
over the
imagine.
mayor?
Do what?
Did he run over the mayor?
No, dude. I wish that would have hit. So dad is like me, very dumb, but very confident, right? And so my dad is a heavier guy. My dad is a heavier guy, but once every 3 or 4 years, dad is like, okay, enough of being a heavy guy. And when dad wants to, he can lose a tremendous amount of weight really fast because he gets like zoned in on something. He's like, this is what I'm going to do. So another way me and my dad are alike. So anyways, dad weighs like 350 pounds. And he's like, you know how I'm going to lose the weight? Biking. And we're like, oh, that's cool, Dad. Go to the park, ride a bike. Dad goes and gets this bike. And in his brain, he's like, I got to get whatever the one Lance Armstrong has. That's one I got to fucking get. So
That's wild.
he gets there.
I bet he sold a lot of bikes, Lance Armstrong. Now I think because
Oh, yeah.
because there's so many people that don't know anything at all about bikes or biking except for Lance Armstrong. So I bet a lot of people did that.
For sure. So the dude's telling him, he's like, yeah, this is one good if you're going off road, and this is one good if you're on the bike track or whatever. And he's like, and these over here, this is the one that your feet actually screw into the pedals, so you can't take your feet out. He's like, that's for more advanced people. And my dad's like, oh, I'm advanced. I know, I want that. That's what I want, right?
And your dad's standing there at like 54 years old and 260 pounds or whatever.
350.
Oh, damn. Okay. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So, yes, stand there like, I'm an advanced cyclist, and the dude was like, okay, sure. I'll sell it to you if you'll give me, if you want to give me the money for it, fuck it.
It's also just proof that no matter how old you are, there's still an old that you feel. And my dad in his brain, like, he was an athlete when he was a kid. He played college ball. So he's like, no, I can, what are you talking about? I can do this. So he gets this shit home, and my mom is like, Dale, you cannot be on something that you can't take your motherfucking feet out of. Do you understand how stupid this is? You haven't ridden a bike in 10 goddamn years. And he's like, oh, y'all don't know shit. I've got balance, and I'm whatever.
Great impersonations.
Like
2 for 2.
You sound just like them.
2 for 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you clip in on a Peloton, but that's a stationary bike. But it does. I mean, it'd be real hard to fall off. I mean, yeah. But like I'm just saying, it does hit though. Like I get why. Yeah, I get why people dig, because you can like pull up. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? In addition to pushing down. But again, it's a stationary bike. I wouldn't do that on a street bike.
No, because if you're like that on a regular bike, when you stop, you got to like catch a wall or some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyways,
this is like doing drugs with somebody who's good at drugs. It hits for them to do that amount of
Although
drugs.
I will say, do you know, because that means you can't ever stop. Anytime you stop, you got to put your foot down, just like on a motorcycle or whatever.
Yeah.
So on a Peloton, you clip in, but you just you flip your foot to the side and it pops right out. Are these bikes like that too?
Well,
you gotta get somebody else, so you gotta have a pit
That's
crew?
what I'm saying. Like, sure, because if it's like that, that's really not that bad. I wouldn't think. Like you just get used to the motion. You just twist your foot and it pops.
Well, here's soon. Let's find out what happened to Dale.
Here's the thing. I'm certain that that's the case, and I'm certain that the person who sold it to my dad explained it to him. Yeah. But I'm also certain that my dad was watching a Joe Rogan clip on his phone when that guy was explaining that shit. Okay. So dad leaves for his first bike ride. 15 minutes later, he calls my mom, and she's like, when he's clearly out of breath. She's like, what are you doing? He's like, you got to come get me. And she's like, where are you at? And he's like, I'm on Osborne Road. And she's like, where at on Osborne Road? And he's like, you'll see me.
He's just laying on the side road, in a ditch, clipped into a bike.
Dad's in a ditch, flipped over. He cannot get off the bicycle at all. And when mom finds him, he's laid on his side, pouring a Big Slam Mountain Dew into his mouth that he had held on to as he ran.
Dude, that's more athletic than anything Lance Armstrong's ever done. To keep the Mountain Dew right there.
Holy
and that bike is sitting in his garage, and that's the last time that motherfucker ever got rode.
First and last.
Funny, dude.
Yep.
Damn, that's wild.
You should get him a recumbent. That's what my father-in-law got, a recumbent after he flipped over the handlebars on his bike and got a concussion.
I need to get him a defibrillator is what I need to get his ass.
Corey, I gotta go. You guys can keep going if you want, or you can sing us out.
Fine. Oh, plugs.
Yeah, okay. All right. Go to TraeCrowder.com. I'll be in Burlington, Vermont this weekend, because this comes out next week. And then I got Austin coming up and a bunch of other places. Big Ohio run, like a 5-day, 5-city Ohio run in September, and a bunch of other shit too. TraeCrowder.com. You can pre-order our book there. Watch Weekly Skews, me and Smart Mark Agee. And go ahead.
I'm going to be in Austin, Texas this weekend. I'm going to be at the Vulcan Friday and Saturday. There was some confusion. They bumped us on a Saturday late show, so I only got one show Saturday, but you guys can go figure all that out. I'll be on the shows early Saturday and early Friday.
Thank you, Drew. And hey, check out Puttin On Airs. That's me and Trey's Fancy People Talk podcast. Also go to parttimefunnyman.com. That's all my bonus stuff. Pre-order our book, Round Here and Over Yonder. All this stuff is in the link in the description. And thank you all for listening to the WellRED Show. We'd love to stick around longer, but we got to go. Tune in next week if you got nothing to do. Thank you. God bless you. Good night and Skew.
Ooh. Nice.